Hey everyone, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. In this episode we're going to get into these newly unlocked quests in Trademeet, but before that I just wanted to showcase that in between episodes I've just disabled that blur effect from the Cloak of Displacement, so now it's exactly the way it was in Baldur's Gate 1 for us. I've also rearranged some inventory space so that Kirinai has a little bit more space for some stealing, and Jaheira has basically is making use out of her strength, and we have already some items prepared for selling in Sinashira's inventory. And these are just basic items that we're going to get rid of to get some more inventory space. And I'm going to sell this plate mail at the blacksmith's store, because I think we're going to be able to get a little bit more for it. This is going to be a difference of like 30 gold or something, but you gotta be frugal with all that stuff. Anyway, let's talk to Wallace now. And he's a guy involved in the quest later on, but right now we just want a scroll case from him, and we want to take his 3 potions of clarity, and maybe even his potions of heroism. Oh yeah, now that we have this new scroll case, we can keep some of the arcane spells that we want to have in scroll form there. And this guy has some more potions of heroism that he keeps them in stacks of 2 for some reason. He's pretty unique in that fact. Okay, we're going to transfer that later. And now we also have some business to take care of in this red tent. I don't know what I was thinking in the last episode. My thoughts were already elsewhere, I think, because this guy still has some important spells for us to get, and also our necklace of missiles that I sold to him for the purposes of recharging it, but I never got it back from him. I'm also going to get some scrolls of restoration. One of them is going to be needed in a quest very soon. And we of course want his improved haste and his protection from magical weapons. And that's not all of those scrolls were stolen. This can go to Jaheira's scroll case. And you still have that one protection from magical weapons scroll. Alright. And this scroll case is going to go to Edwin. Edwin can keep it. Alright. Now the next order of business is going to be inspecting the fountain, finally. And so let's look at our statues. We are the Heroes of Trademeet now. And as you can see, there is a statue of a bear over there, because Jaheira was in bear form at the time of the ceremony. And here we can see Sinashira, Hero of Trademeet, and followers of Sinashira. Kirinai being over here, and Edwin being over there. So yeah, pretty cool. You can go much further with this idea, by the way. We could have used the Cloak of the Sewers to change someone into a troll, and it would be reflected in the statue here, or also Edwin could have memorized Polymorph Self and shapeshifted into an ogre, for example. But I wanted to have nice statues here. I just wanted Jaheira to be a bear, because you know how Jaheira and I operate. Anyway, now we can switch her back to her human form, or half-elf form, and give her the black blood already, so now she is equipped with a nice +3 weapon. And now we can slowly get into the quests. Now we're just going to go into the Alibakar estate, because they have a pearl necklace that I want.
If it must be done.
There we go. And now, also we can talk with more of the townsfolk, I guess. This is pretty funny with Sir Patrick and Mistress Mera. They have a slightly different conversation depending on whom you talk to, and they always leave after this conversation, and I think talking to Sir Patrick is funnier. Yeah, so they also heard about us being the Heroes of Trademeet. Yeah, you wanted to jump in and save the town yourself, Sir Patrick. I could have done it, darling. If those rabble did it, I could have. Yeah, but she wants to have him only for herself and safe. There's also Nieber here. If you remember Nuber from Nashkel, that's his cousin, I guess, or some relative, and he's going to display a very similar attitude, so we can just click through his lines, and once we just persist long enough, we're going to get a little bit of experience. I like that sword. Can you sign my shirt? Are we gonna kill the druids? Can I watch? Well, we've already done that. I killed a rabid rabbit. I'm experienced now. What's a cleric? Do we have to study spells? Can I see one? We should go find Joaquin. That would be a great adventure. Have you ever seen a dragon? Wow. Well, not yet. I want to see Athkatla. I hear the streets are made of gold. I want to go to the Underdark. I've heard there's cool stuff there. Have you killed the genies? Yeah, of course the rock throwing here. And yeah. So now that we've been really nice to him, he's going to give us some rocks that people have thrown at him before. And he gives us 5 bullets plus 2, so those are some pretty high quality rocks they have in this area, I have to admit. Well, they use some pretty good ammo at Niebuhr. And Trissa also is not going to be impressed now that we are heroes. Yeah. You never did nothing for me. Alright. And now I guess we can go to the Loraxel estate and pick up the quest from Lady Lilith. It does not matter at all whom you get this quest from. Everything plays out exactly the same, no matter which family we choose to work for and take that commission. So anyway, of course the story is that those are 2 feuding families, the Loraxels and Alibacars, and have been at odds for generations because they just have a conflict about which family founded Trademeet. But apparently there's been a breakthrough recently, because a tome has been uncovered that mentions that the proof is right here in Trademeet. In an abandoned crypt, or a tomb, lies the Mantle of Joaquin, and that would be proof enough for whichever family holds it in their possession. And that would be the proof that they were the founding family, because you know, that belonged to the ancestor that founded Trademeet. Anyway, apparently the tomb is haunted though, but of course we will undertake that mission. And we get a key from her, and Lord Scarmain Alibacar also has a key to that. Anyway, the crypt is right over here. But before we enter it, we are going to be approached by good guy Lord Logan. And he's going to offer an alternative solution to the whole conflict. He wants the Mantle of Joaquin to be returned to him instead of any of the families. Because if we give this mantle to one of the 2 families, he's concerned that it will just end up in bloodshed, because those families will want to have that proof so much that they will just go pretty much into open war over it. Alright. So that's the mission. I'm just going to lightly pre-buff with some mirror images on Senashira, and I think that's going to be it. There's just a pretty simple fight. This guy is going to summon some more. I think we might try to interrupt him. He casts Animate Dead. He wants to summon some more skeletons. And he even succeeded at that. At this point, of course, in the game, this encounter is pretty simple. Skeleton warriors are no match for us now. Okay, and here we get the Mantle of Joaquin and 2 two-handed swords plus 1. Just transfer them to Cerned, I guess. And here is this mantle, and it's it was mentioned by the Lady Lilith, and in the description that it's a circlet. But circlet is something that you put on your head, right? And this is a mantle, something that you put like on your shoulders, around your neck, it seems. So, anyway. And yeah, now we have 2 options. We could either, of course, complete the mission and give it back to Lady Lilith, or go back to Lord Logan Coprith and give it to him. And we're going to do the good thing and give it back to Lord Logan. And basically, if we choose to like complete the mission, I guess, for one of the families, it really does result in bloodshed. Because before you can even give the mantle to the person that you know, gave you the mission, like Lady Lilith in our case, the other family is going to show up, and they are going to argue over who should have the mantle, of course, and they're going to even attack us, because they're going to want to have the mantle, you know, claim the mantle from our dead hands, basically, and a big like fight commences, and yeah, both of these families basically die in the conflict. We are forced to kill them. Yeah, but of course, we will give the mantle to Lord Logan, so that finally this feud can be finished, can be put to rest. Yeah, so we get another reputation point from that, some experience and some gold. Actually, I should really dismiss CERN, because right now he's just eating away at our experience. But anyway, for the quests before and for this one, we got quick 2 reputation points, and now we are at 20. So now finally we are at a maximum reputation amount. We have maximum discounts coming from that, and we also have that nymph cloak to put our charisma up to 20, or over 20. So now we have maximum discounts available to us. So now we're going to visit the smithy. And although it is a smithy, and the guy is called Blacksmith, his most interesting things are actually scrolls. And he's not even concerned about us taking his stuff. I guess he's so overjoyed that he can get back to doing business. And that he doesn't even... Wow! That's random loot, I think. Laurel's tier necklace. All of this, these containers have some random loot. So we can get some pretty good scrolls or some pretty good valuables there, or potions sometimes, depending on what decides to spawn. And, oh yeah, I wanted to get this nymph cloak out. Now that we have maximum discounts available, we can talk to him and do some purchases. So, he has of course some equipment, but his most interesting things are, he has some potions, and I think I'm going to get these potions of agility for Anomen. Now our financial situation is starting to get pretty nice. And yeah, he has many useful scrolls. I think I'm going to get that spell thrust, it's also cheap. And we're going to get some more advanced scrolls from him, like this Ruby Ray. It's pretty expensive, but it's the first spell that can, it's a level 7 spell, and it's the first out of the anti-magic spells that can dispel Spell Trap. And say spell one more time. I think I'm going to leave the rest here. And he also has the Robe of the Good Archmagi, and that's the... This is not an important purchase, I would like to just say. I think I'm going to get it now, because we are going to be back in Trademeet after a long while, I think, after we rescue Mazzy and come back here to do some of her quests. So it's going to be a long while before we are back here, so I think I'm going to take it, but especially considering its cost and what benefits it gives us, it's really not an important purchase, but I'm going to take it, I think, already. And I might get this one True Sight scroll. It's just nice to have it in a scroll for some situations. And I think that's going to be it for now. Also, when it comes to Ruby Ray, some people pointed to the fact that it's an alteration spell and not abjuration like all of the other like anti-magic spells, but it doesn't matter at all. Like all of the beginning from Spell Thrust and all the other anti-magic spells, although they are abjuration, they of course dispel spell immunity to abjuration, so it doesn't matter at all the fact that this is an alteration spell. The fact that what's important about Ruby Ray is that it's the lowest level arcane spell that dispels Spell Trap, like I've said. Okay, and I think Anomen is just going to keep these potions of agility. We're just going to get them out of our potion case here and just keep them. And I've also before I've changed the property of this Robe of Good Archmagi, its visual property, just like this Knave's Robe, that it will not give us any of its own like colors. It's going to display Senashira's colors always. So, you know, it's a decent, of course it's the best kind of robe before, I guess, Robe of Vecna. It's kind of like from these general robes, it's the best one. It gives you a decent armor class, +1 saving throw bonus, which is the most important, and a little bit of magic resistance. So, yeah. And the Knave's Robe is going to be held by Edwin, I think, for... This might even be actually a better robe to equip on him right now. He's mostly going to be in danger, I think, with from like some melee guys. And those are the most, of course, the most dangerous opponents in Baldur's Gate 2, not really the archers. And the save versus death is definitely a weakness of a mage, and it's also going to display his normal colors, which I think I'm going to change to his like standard. It's kind of like standard colors instead of these ones that the enhanced edition gives him. Alright, anyway. And that's that done. And now the other quest that we wanted to do there was this woman, Jenya, that approached us and told us to go and speak to her son, Tiris. We're of course going to get some goodies before we do that. Those are super minor. Alright. Now here's Tiris, and he tells us about his story, that him and his girlfriend, I guess his fiancée actually, Raisa, they were coming back home a couple days ago, but they got captured by some horrific creatures, and he's going to describe a scene like out of a horror movie, basically, when he woke up and Raisa was like tied to a chair, and these creatures basically wanted to strip them of their skin and take their likeness. But Tiris was able to escape that situation. But now, of course, he doesn't want Raisa to be left there alone. And yeah, so of course he heard that we are heroes, and he's going to want us to investigate the situation. And he's going to mention the woods at the southwestern, near the southwestern gate, and that's where we're going to go to investigate. He also mentions that one of the creatures called the other guy Rejiek, that we've already heard about, of course. This is the follow-up to Rejiek, the the Skinner from the Bridge District murder plot. And here, when he asked why, do you know that name? Normally, if we don't have Edwin, because he's going to just say it straight, that he's the Tanner from Athkatla, normally we would have different dialogue options where we can hide the information from him to like not make him worry more, or we can just say it plain and square that it's not really how you say it, like it's like fair and square, and say it just plainly that Rejiek was involved in a string of murders in Athkatla. So yeah, that's the story. So now we can go and investigate.
Yes. This will not take
And
long.
so he mentioned the southwest gate. Let's teleport near it and see what's
What
up.
if it must be done?
So here we're going to meet a fellow called Darcidian Moore, and apparently he's on the hunt for a creature, for an evil creature, called a skin dancer, a man-like beast without true flesh of its own. So okay, now after that introduction, it would seem that our interests are aligned. And apparently he doesn't know about the murderer Rejiek, but he wants that skin dancer, and it seems like we're basically after the same group, I guess. So we can offer to work with him, and he said that the lair of the creature was apparently on the eastern side of town, and he's going to go ahead and scout around. Alright, so he goes over there, and the place he mentioned was near this eastern gate, and this is where the follow-up is going to occur. So yeah, apparently he has already battled the skin dancer, and he's going to claim that he's injured, and Raisa is not displayed here. She is on the edge of our vision, but she's going to be displayed in a second. And he wants us to like finish off Rejiek, who's right here on the ground. Here's Raisa apparently, and here's Darcidian.
Yes.
But if we talk to Rejiek, or yeah, it's going to appear that something's not right. This creature, this person here, talks in a female voice and asks about Tiris, and they are going to basically expose themselves. That basically they wanted to fake Rejiek's death so that he could. Yeah, this was their only chance to fake her death and escape once and for all. But he has no patience for it. He just wants to kill us. And this is, they're going to basically
What is it?
change into these skin dancer kind of skeletons and fight us.
Yes.
I'm going to find them, but also on the ground there's also a pretty unique item called Rice's skin, discarded skin of Tiris's girl. The skin dancers stole it from her and attempted to disguise themselves to hide their crimes. So yeah, whether we have it in our inventory or if it's on the ground, she's going to retrieve it in a second, once we're done with these guys. And this is going to be the final end of Rejiek and his skinning schemes, I guess, and now she's back into her own skin. Yeah, so this is a pretty horrific experience for her, like out of straight out of a horror movie, really. But apparently they used some dark magic on her, and she is not entirely fine yet. Basically, she was turned into a skin dancer like them, and yeah, she mentions the dark magic coursing through her and changing her, and she's going to mention that these dark urges are going to start to like overwhelm her. And basically, there's so many like little differences that you can do in this quest to go differently through it. But there are basically going to be two outcomes. She wants us to use a restoration spell on her to fully cure her from that dark magic. Yeah, apparently Rejiek told her that it could only be the spell of restoration that could help her. But of course these are not cheap, and she doesn't have that kind of money, and we have those spells on us. We can get one of these scrolls out already, and they fatigue you once you use them, so I guess let's have Cern, or actually I'm going to have Edwin do a good deed. Because we don't really care if he's fatigued or not, his Thaco and his damage don't matter, and he's going to be generally protected by some spells, so the damage received that's higher from fatigued, or for fatigued characters, it doesn't matter on him as much also. And Cern leveled up in the process, but I'm just going to just let him go right now, because we're going to get a nice chunk of experience in a second, and I just don't want him to eat any more of our experience. No, you can hold that. Because basically I have some plans for Senashira. Once we finish up these Trademeet quests and get back to Athkatla, we're going to do some quests, and I would like to do a certain fight with her, but I would like her to have level 12 then, and have access to level 6 spells, so that we can do the Daystar Lich basically with a little bit more finesse, a little bit more style, with those level 6 spells available to us. Right, of course, also we've had Kirinai that leveled up in the previous episode, so while that's on my mind, let's actually level her up. She gets better saving throws primarily, and we can go in and put more points into stealth for her, so in a couple of levels she should be pretty reliable with her stealth abilities. And now we're just going to thank you, Cern, for his services. He was recognized as one of the Heroes of Trademeet. He helped a tiny bit in the Druid Grove, so let him have his title as a Hero of Trademeet, but now he can go and help restore the Druid Grove to its former condition.
Do we flower anew, or is the fall upon us?
So yeah, we're going to allow him to get back to the Druid Grove, and he's way more needed there than in our party. Okay, thanks dude. And now let's cure Risa. Boom. Okay, so now she feels that she's back to normal, and she's going to hurry to Tiris to share the good news with him. I got one good potion from the Skin Dancers, so that plot finally is finished. That was the follow-up to Rejiek, but also we have this note from his home still, and we're going to be able to later on deal with some of his accomplices in his dark schemes of making these like skin armors. And so we got 30,000 experience as a big bunch of experience, not individualized. And now we can talk with Tiris's parents, and apparently Risa came back, and Tiris and Risa are going to be married, and it's all thanks to us, and we can get another reputation point here. So from Trademeet,
it seems quite strange to me that a woman of clearly noble past would choose the life of an adventurer. What has brought you to this dangerous path?
It's a little banter, but just to finish my thought, in Trademeet you can get like pretty quick 3 points of reputation, which is another cool thing about Trademeet.
It is a path of conscience. Some druids choose a contemplative lifestyle, but I sought a more active role in the furthering of nature's cause. And you? Did you become a priest of Helm only for honor and glory?
Of course not. The righteous path ever beckons. It is merely a dividend of the order that a member can make a place for himself in this difficult world. Yeah. So anyway, and these quests now in Trademeet are all finished for now. We can once again bask in the glory of this bear statue of Jaheira and gaze at its magnificence. Anyway, now we are truly done with Trademeet for quite a while, and we're going to be able to go back to Athkatla now. So let's actually start going back, and we're going to be able to get into some quests
Yes?
that we've picked up earlier in Athkatla. And I think first order of business will be to maybe progress further this Sir Sarl's quest that we got from the Temple of Helm. So he was staying at the Gistev estate.
If it must
I
be done.
require rest. I demand we stop.
Oh, okay, there's okay, this Jaheira
What is it? It will be done.
thing spawned, and I think also Terry is Animan Messenger.
Good day to you.
Oh yeah. So finally, Anomen Delrin's quest is going to start out. So yeah, this messenger apparently informs us that Anomen's sister is dead. The one member of his family that, you know, he had a proper relationship with, his beloved little sister Moira, is dead. So this is going to be like a big event, of course, in Anomen's story arc. And so, of course, we are to make haste to the government district that we've just arrived to visit the Delrin household and see what's up. Yeah, so we will go there right away. And here's also Revian. She's actually blocked by these other harpers. Maybe if we put Jaheira closer, they can like initiate the conversation. So Revian is one of the harpers.
What is this? Revian, what are you doing here? It is I, Jaheira.
It is I, Jaheira. Yeah, so of course Jaheira is now recognized as a traitor among harpers. A traitor who killed Galvaray and you know, the whole harper bunch at the Harper Hold. Yeah, so she's going to explain herself. And now this is another part of her storyline where the outcome here of this part depends on the reputation that we have. I think if we have 16 and higher reputation, Revian is going to be convinced by Jaheira's explanations and leave peacefully. But if you have lower reputation than that, she's going to attack, and we would have to fight all of these harpers. Yeah, so apparently Galvaray was a very promising member of the harpers, but yeah, so it's hard to believe for them, I guess, for the rest of the harpers, that he would act like that. Yeah, this seems far-fetched. You are well known to have hated Galvaray. And why should this woman command such value? Because, of course, Jaheira explained that, you know, Galvaray wanted to progress his station among the harpers on the wings, I guess, of the success for capturing us. And we are, of course, very notable because we are, of course, one of the children. We are a child of Baal. Yeah, this is a Baal child, and you trust her over one of your own? Yeah, you must do as you will, Revian. I have told you my circumstance. There is little more for me to say. And if we tell Jaheira to stand down her weapons, there is going to be no bloodshed here, because of course we have 20 reputation. Yeah, and she's going to say that, I know you to be truthful, Jaheira, and I have heard good things of Senashira. I will try to sway the others, but passions run high in this matter. Alright, so they leave peacefully. Also, I forgot to say the different outcomes with Raisa and Tiris. Basically, you know, that was the good way of doing the quest, the way we've done it. where of course Risa gets cured and gets back to Tiris and they get married. But there's a couple of ways that you can achieve the bad ending, whether you are swayed by Darcidian Moore and Rejiek, who is in the skin of Risa as you arrive at that scene, and just kill Risa as she's on the ground. You're just going to kill her. That's a bad ending. And then Rejiek still retains her looks. Or if you rescue Risa but do not cure her with that restoration spell, then later on when you visit the Tiris's home and talk to his parents, they are going to say that Risa came back, but she was acting very odd and unnatural, and they went for a walk but never returned. So and the parents basically figure out that Tiris is not coming back, that something horrible happened. And whether it's Rejiek in the form of Risa, or whether it's Risa who was overwhelmed by these skin dancer dark urges, it's just a horrible ending for that whole story. So yeah, and it seems that now while we're in the government district, we have even more to do. Not only we are going to have to visit the Gistev estate for Sir Sarles, but also the Delrin estate, which is quite a nice mansion here, I have to say, Animan.
I must rest
But yeah,
soon.
we're going to do all that in the next episode. So thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.